the borders. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Iggy. Great to have you on the host. So hello, I am Kung Fu Fruit Cup, indeed, and today I'm talking with Bernard Wiseman, who is currently the association coordinator with MSF. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you very much for having me.
I'm so glad to have you. I love these kinds of conversations because we learn so many amazing things. Like, we have so many great runners this marathon, right? But taking the time to learn a little bit more about the charity that we are supporting and your experiences is just so meaningful, like, to me and to so many others. So I'd love to hear a little bit first about what you do as association coordinator.
Sure. So I work as the association coordinator here in the US, and what it is kind of a governance association that works with current and former Doctors Without Borders field workers. And we do a lot of work with strategic planning and kind of voting on board of directors for the organization.
Oh, wow, okay. And how long have you been doing that now?
Just about 6 months.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, so because before that you were head of mission.
Yes.
Now tell us about what that means, because that sounds very cool, but I don't know what it means exactly.
Yeah, so with Doctors Without Borders in a given country where we work, the head of mission is kind of the highest level of representation for Doctors Without Borders to the government, to military, to kind of any kind of community leaders. And so the other job of the head of mission is also operations. So, where are we working in a given country? What are the issues? Where should we be working for outbreaks or other kind of natural disasters? And then also kind of security management. As you know, we work in a lot of conflict zones.
Sure.
And so security management can be very, very difficult to kind of analyze and manage. And I just came back from Ukraine a few months ago, and kind of one of the more intense places where we've had to work.
Yes, so I did want to chat about that, but I'm actually just curious real quick, how long have you been with MSF then at this point?
I think about 8 years now, I think.
Wow.
Maybe, yeah. I started in 2015 working in the Congo, kind of on a measles vaccination campaign. Yeah,
wow, okay, let's get back to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did want to hear more about your work in Ukraine. Like,
Sure.
what have been some of the things you've been doing there recently?
Yeah, so we've been in Ukraine. Doctors Without Borders have been in Ukraine since the beginning of the conflict, and even before the conflict started. My role was working kind of as a project coordinator in a very large city called Kharkiv, which is about 20 kilometers from the Russian border. Mm-hmm. During that time, we've seen mass displacement, people moving and fleeing from the conflict. Not only across the country, but out into other parts of Europe as well. So many refugees. And so our teams came in very quickly to try to provide any kind of medical care or any assistance that we could. Kharkiv, by the time that I got there, was kind of surrounded by some Russian forces. So there was a lot of artillery and missiles coming into the town. And so what we found is a lot of the population, our patients, were living underground in the subways. And so our teams were working kind of in the subways and kind of these collective centers to try to provide as basic of kind of medical, assistance as we could. And so, hundreds of people, on the platforms, living in tents or living on, blankets, just trying to provide as much as we could for them during the time. So, very, very difficult period of time. When you're fleeing violence, when you're fleeing conflict, you don't have a lot of time to take things with you. You just
Right.
want to seek safety as soon as possible. So, you don't have time to bring your diabetes medication or your hypertension medication or even kind of a blanket or a pillow. And so that's what we were doing initially to try to provide some support to the population and just, to provide a little bit of dignity as well.
Wow, that's incredible, that work over there. Thank you for helping to provide for them and keep them safe. And so I wonder what you do with your own team to help preserve that kind of safety, to feel safe going over there, to what steps do you have in place to kind of protect your team and the people around you as you're helping?
No, it's a really good question. It's something that we take very, very seriously. We're constantly working with local governments, with the military, with other groups to make sure that we're not putting anyone in harm's way. For us, it's we want to make sure our patients and our staff are always protected, and it's number one for us.
Wow.
And so it's a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of analysis. But I think, for us to provide, basic medical care to the, most vulnerable populations, these are the places where we have to work, and even a little bit of assistance goes a really long way.
Yeah, I'm sure they appreciate your bravery and your willingness to go and help these countries. And I know that this is not the only place that you've worked in to help with this kind of population displacement. Can you give us an idea of other countries that you've worked with and the kinds of things that have been going on over there?
Yeah, so I've been working with displaced populations since I started started. One of the largest refugee camps in the world right now is in Bangladesh with the Rohingya population. About a million refugees currently living in camps for about the last 5 years. So we've had to, set up hospitals, build hospitals, water networks in order just to provide a basic level of care for a lot of the refugees. Working in other countries, in civil wars, South Sudan, Sudan, wherever there is conflict, whenever there is, a really big kind of humanitarian crisis, that's where Doctors Without Borders goes. And sometimes we're the first on the scene to try to provide medical care to these populations.
Yeah, absolutely. So out of all of these places that you've worked and all of these things that you've seen, would you say that there's like one moment or location or something that's really stood out to you that it's like I'll never forget about this kind of moment? I'm sure there's a lot, but
yeah, it's a really difficult question because everywhere I go we see such things, and it's with our staff and patients, and I think what really stood out to me, what kind of like separated Doctors Without Borders from other organizations was actually my first mission.
Okay.
We were in the Congo, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and there was a very large measles outbreak. So a lot of young children who were coming down with the sickness and dying, and only because they just didn't have access to vaccinations. And so our teams flew into, the rainforests and jungles of this country in order to just provide very basic vaccinations that normally here in the U.S. we have access to. We were going from village to village on very, very small roads. And, at one point on my second day, working with Doctors Without Borders, a very large tree just falls in the middle of the road, like a super huge tree in the middle of the rainforest. And it was my second day. I hadn't worked with the organization, so I thought, well, I guess we have to go back. But all of a sudden, the driver got out of the Jeep. He went to the back of the Jeep and he grabbed an axe. And he starts just knocking and just starts chopping away at this tree. And I was like, there's no way we're going to cut this thing open. And then someone else gets out of the car, and it was a doctor. And then so I got out of the car and I grabbed an axe. And so we just chopped down this tree for about 2-3 hours, standing on a bunch of what turned out to be later fire ants. And we were able just to pull this tree apart, especially with our Land Cruisers, just to get to the next village, to the next clinic. And it just really, for me to understand just how far we'll go to get the job done. We don't leave, if we can't get by. And it just was, it was amazing to me to really feel that.
Yeah.
And really work with really dedicated staff all across the world. And it's the reason why I work with Doctors Without Borders, because, we'll go that last mile, and it's something I'll carry with me my whole career.
Absolutely, and probably one of the reasons why we like to work with you all, because we as a supportive community here in gaming can understand that idea of you get out with an axe, we get out with an axe. We are here, we support each other, and we support you all. That's very emotionally moving to me. Just just hearing about that, and just putting your health and safety at risk to help others is just incredible. Can we get a round of applause, please, for the amazing work that Bernard is doing?
Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh. Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about. So I think there's also something to be said for really starting on the ground, literally on the ground, and then working your way years and years with MSF and showing your passion by staying with them. So what kind of impacts do you think maybe you've been able to have with MSF, or maybe want to continue to have in the future?
Yeah, I think the great thing about MSF is that we stay with communities long after the cameras are gone, and we're working in 70 countries across the world. We have 60,000 staff, and it's something that we're really dedicated to make sure that we don't leave those communities that need that access. And the most vulnerable, sometimes are the displaced, right? The refugees or the internally displaced, and it's those communities and on our staff across the world that really inspire me every day to get back up and get back out there and to try to provide what I can.
Right. So you just want to continue to see more of that support and just spread across more of the world, or?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So then I did want to follow up before I let you go.
Sure.
So I was asking Bernard before this a little bit about your gaming history. And give us just a quick summary of your experience in gaming.
So I'm not so much of a gamer. I started playing when I was very, very young with Nintendo 1.
Sure.
So Mario Brothers, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Duck Hunt. That's kind of the level I got to. I think once gaming got into, multiple controllers and, I started like walking backwards and I couldn't, people didn't want to play with me anymore. But
and then you're out with axes like in the middle of the rainforest, like cutting down trees.
But I loved playing games when I was young, and I just being here at this event and watching this community and seeing how much they're so supportive of Doctors Without Borders. I don't know. I think I'm really inspired to kind of pick it up and try a game. I mean, just been blown away by the community here, and really, really happy.
Absolutely. So then, what we do need for Bernard now is chat. I would love your help on this, or just like send a tweet in. We need a gamer tag for Bernard because he doesn't have one. So if you could help us come up with an awesome, super awesome, like heroic gamer tag for Bernard, I would love that. Like, please tag me, please tag MSF, and let us know what you all.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah.
What you all think. Okay. Well, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for all the tremendous amount of work that you have done.
Yeah.
Yes, and taking the time to come here and chat with us. It's been such an honor.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and just kind of the support by the community to Doctors Without Borders and the communities that we serve has been incredible. The money being raised is just, the whole team has been blown away. So we really appreciate all the donations that can come in. Even something small can go a long way. So
absolutely.
Thanks again.
Yeah, so if you do want to learn more about that, I'm sure Iggy up on the host stand can tell you more about like where your donations can go, what they can do, and how they can have an impact. So thank you again, Bernard. You are wonderful, and I appreciate you being here.
Fu, thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Looking forward to some monkey ball. Thank you for the round of applause. He so deserves it. Oh my goodness. Awesome. Thanks so much. Back up to you, Iggy.
Thank you so much, Fu, and thank you, Dr. Wiseman, putting a face and stories to the incredible work that y'all do, and you, everyone out there, are donating to make happen with over $1 million raised. Oh my golly gee. Quick update on incentives. We're about to bust open that Spin Rhythm XD difficulty showcase, less than $250 to get that started. But wait, there's more. There's gonna be a Celeste sight read. Scoots is going to be seeing the chart the same time y'all are. No one has ever seen it before. So we are not closing that incentive. We are going to be keeping that going on. Also, for Clone Hero, which y'all graciously allowed Fripp to return by getting that bonus game on, thank you so much. We are nearly at $19,803.96 out of the $60,000 we needed to get through the Fire and Flames back into the set list. And once again, but wait, there's more. We are going to be keeping that incentive open once we get that on the set list. And let me just say, have you ever seen Clone Hero be speedrun before? I ask you, has that happened? Well, if we keep on donating, we keep on smashing those incentives, we're about to find out. All right, we got ourselves 55s with the $200 donation. That's a lot of numbers saying, love this event. Hey, we love this event. We love your generosity. Thank you so much. And all right, looks like we're ready to rock for the next run. Posture check. Everyone in attendance, want to scoot up on your seats a little bit? Just a little bit? Just a little bit more? All right, now that when you are all on the edge of your seats, you are ready to watch Ike SMB perform his story mode run of Kaizo Monkey Ball. Take it away, my friend.